This is Linda Vetras Nichols, evolutionaryhealer.com, and I have with me the most amazing person, Naomi Tickle. Welcome, Naomi.
Thank you, Linda. It's great to be here today.
Wonderful to have you. I just absolutely love your work. So, Naomi, tell us a little bit about your history and how you even came into the world of color, and then what you're up to now.
Well, I came across the color system years ago, back in 1983, and I was actually doing makeup and trying to select the reds for people, which was something I was not very familiar with doing. But anyway, I saw a lot of the colors that were being done by Beautiful All Seasons, Color Me Beautiful, Color Style Institute, and it's fine, but it was just a guide. Nothing seemed to really quite go together. And then I came across Susan's work. And what I thought, whatever she knows. She knows what she's doing. And I was absolutely amazed. And so I went to have my colors done. And at that time, you had a day appointment, no time appointment. So you're able to watch everybody having the colors done. And she would capture the essence of the person.
Wow.
And it was truly amazing to watch her. And when it was my turn to have my colors done, I was fine. I enjoyed it, but I was more excited about what it was doing for other people. When I went home, walking up the driveway, my husband said, "You found it, haven't you?" And I said, "Yes, I have." So going back to Suzanne's, her background, she actually started this in 1943 in Los Altos Hills. So after having my colors done, my mother-in-law said to me, she said, "Well, you just put clothes on." And she was probably very right, because I thought navy blue looked terrific on me. And no, it doesn't. Anyway, this all led to me eventually being on stage with Dr. Oz and Deepak Chopra doing the face reading or the personology. And it really getting me involved in color was the beginning of my journey of discovering the patterns, not only within color, but also in the structure of the face. And it's been truly fascinating.
It is. And you actually did my color reading for the color red and for a print. So we're going to get into the slides, because that was fascinating for me to be part of that. So here we go. All right. So the history of color. And here's Suzanne Cagle, who you started with. She's the grande dame of color, as you say, or as they say. What's the name of her book? It sells for $400. That's a very important workout in the world. What is the name of her book again?
Color, the Essence of You.
I love that. Very
and
cool.
It's a very interesting book, because she breaks it down into 4 different seasons. And so when she would do your colors, like for me, when she did my colors, she said, "Oh, you're a woodsy autumn," which personalized it more. And I felt it fitted very well. And so she, yes, would paint the skin tone. That's the first thing she did, was to paint the skin tone from the palm of the hand. And then paint the red that you could wear. And then after that, she would match the eye color, the hair color, and that laid the foundation to the palette. And this approach is very unique. No one else uses this approach. There are a few people today working with this system. And but anyway, after she selected those base colors, then every color goes with every color. And so there's no color on your chart that doesn't work together. If it looks harsh, then it shouldn't be there.
Right.
And so that's how she developed her charts. And then when I was, after I studied with her, which was in 1983, she taught us how to paint the skin tones and paint the red. And what I was noticing, that the red would indicate people's heritage or where their ancestry came from. Just this week, I pulled up a red for someone. I said, "You have American Indian in you." And she said, "No one knows that." "How do you know that?" So our skin tone, and I'm not talking about Caucasian or African or Asian. I'm talking about the skin tone in general, and the shape of our face, it is the essence of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And this hasn't really been understood. It gives us so much information, not only about the colors we wear, but also the prints we wear.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
start to see the patterns after a while evolving. And I was the first one of few that can really select prints for people today that match their the structure of the face.
Wonderful. I love that. Okay. So color and physiognomy. Let's talk a little bit about that. How to select color.
Well, how to select color? One is for people who haven't had their colors done, or to double check. What you do is you lay the color against the palm of the hand, not by the face, but on the palm of the hand. If it looks harsh or too yellow, then it obviously doesn't work. But if it brings up the pigment in your skin tone, then that color works for you.
Wonderful.
And that's an easy way to do this in the store. That's an easy reference point. I remember being in a store one day, and I saw this woman trying on this red, and I thought, I have to go and tell her how well it works for her. Well, turns out she said to me, Naomi, you did my colors 20 years ago. and she said that was the way she would select the colors, by not only using the color chart, but check it against her hand as well.
Wonderful. Great.
And then the eyebrows, like when the eyebrows flare upwards, it's on the outer point when they flare upwards. These are more your dramatic people, your artists. And the more flair they put into, say, the designs that they wear, the jewelry that they wear, it brings up the art piece in the face. It captures the magic that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the red that's on that you have there, I probably, in the here it looks a little yellow. I probably blew it a bit more. But, oftentimes when it comes on camera, it changes the pigment a little bit. But it just captures a part of you, brings out a history in you.
Lovely.
And then we also look at the tips of the fingers. If the ends of the fingers are pointed,
which mine are.
Yes.
And
everybody would
aren't.
point. Mine not. Right?
And yours aren't. Go right in front of you. Yeah. Closer to the screen, maybe that'll help.
There we go.
Yeah. So
mine is square at the top.
Let's see. And mine
and
are.
yours are more rounded.
Yep.
And I have a flatter hand, and you have a more rounded hand.
Right.
And so, if the fingertips are pointed, these, without exception, these individuals would look good in blue reds.
Mm-hmm.
If they're more square, like my hand, then they probably look better in yellow reds, yellow-based reds, and and also the hand is much flatter. And this is often seen in the autumn coloring. It can filter into other seasons, and that is the influence of their heritage. There may be an autumn person somewhere in their heritage. So I start to see that little flatter. But that's how you can determine whether you use an orange-based red or a blue-based red.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've always been, considered a winter, and then now that there's a little more yellow in my skin tone, I can actually wear the fall colors where before I couldn't wear them, period.
Be careful. I would say be careful about wearing fall colors, because it'll bring up the yellow in you. Your skin tone doesn't change. It stays the same. Yes, when we go out in the sun, we get sunburnt and it's weathered, etc. But it doesn't change the palm of your hand.
Got it.
And that is what you need to go by. When I was giving a talk at a conference, AICI conference, which is Association of Image Consultants, and there was a woman there in the audience, and she had this beautiful old red, something similar to yours on. And I said to her, I said, stand up. And I shared with the audience, I said, now, this person will look good in ethnic jewelry, older designs. She'll enjoy antiques and history. Turns out her major in university was history.
Wow. You nailed it, didn't you? I love it.
It captures a part of us. Colors capture our history, our heritage. And it's fascinating. And I think if we could start using that as a research to see, well, where do we see these colors, or where did we see these colors more dominant in different parts of the world?
Yeah, I love it. And you referred to the face as art at one point too, and you were even saying like a tie for a man is how do you explain that? The ties for men. What do you usually say?
It's their art piece.
Art piece, yeah.
Yes. In fact, I was working with this gentleman yesterday, and he came and had this gorgeous tie. I said, that is so you.
Mm,
It captured the nourishing part of him, and it just sung. I'd never seen him in that tie before. And I remember being at an event and I was selecting the ties for men, and I put this tie up against this man, and the whole audience said, wow. And
cool.
it's just magical. You see the whole face come up. So when
Mm,
we wear prints that fight against us,
mm-hmm,
it tends to distract. Like if I hold this print up next to me, it's like it's a little distracting. It's too busy.
mm,
But if I hold something that's a little more space, it anchors it more. Like you
ah,
can see my face. It doesn't
mm-hmm,
dominate it. Yes, even the one that I selected for you, I brought up here. It's another sort of historical feel.
mm-hmm.
And so
Very
when people come to me, whether it's for having their career assessments done, I always bring out the scarves because it's so fascinating. And I think what we'd find is people who wore the same prints have the same heritage there. Be interesting to do
Mm.
the DNA and see if there's any link.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool. What did you say about striped shirts? Because my husband tends to wear the thinner striped shirts.
Well, when men wear the striped shirts, these people enjoy a more structured environment.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's him.
the more bold the stripe, the more structured the environment they enjoy. When people wear plaids, they're much more flexible.
Mm.
They look at the bigger picture. They don't like to work in structured environments.
Right. And his father was a, a what is it, diamond driller, and
Mhm.
or yeah, and so he wore plaid shirts like all the time, and the women couldn't keep their hands off of him because of the shirt, and they'd put their hand up on the shirt and say, "Oh, Dan, you know, like your shirt."
Well,
That's so funny.
it's interesting because there's a certain plaid or pattern shirt that you see dominantly in England. And I always think that, oh, they must have some English in them somewhere. It's just the plaids you see over there rather than over here. And it's just interesting. And also going back to the skin tones, anytime I put yellow ochre, which is a very mustardy yellow, into the skin tone, I knew these people had German heritage
Ah,
without fail. And
wow.
so, yes, the thread goes through, and no one has
Hmm.
looked at that before.
That's so cool. I love it. Yeah, and the wrong color, it absolutely takes away, it washes me out like in a heartbeat. I have to be careful of my colors for sure. And then you've just been referring to the patterns, which is so fascinating. And then the prints that are specific. Can you tell a little bit more about the print that's specific to me and why it's specific to me?
Well, I found for yourself that the print it had to be, it captured a little bit of your history. That's what I saw. It couldn't be too much space between the prints. It's like
Okay.
solid space because that was too plain for you.
Right.
You needed something a little more closer.
Mm-hmm.
And the print I found yesterday, I think would have even looked better on you. It just was a little closer design. And so when you put on a print and your face comes up, you know that it works. So then you look at the print and say, well, is this a defined line or is it blended? How much space is there between the prints?
Mm-hmm.
And is there a leaf in it? Is it geometric? Is it rounded or oval? And how or why, but it just captures the shape of the face. I think what it is, it's like a mirror of the face.
Mm. Wow, that's so
And
interesting.
possibly if someone were to design a computer program, might be able to trace what it is that we're seeing. It's interesting because I find in the fabric today, the manufacturers blend all these different, not blend, put all these different colors and designs together, and oftentimes they don't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, I can't even rationalize this. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
And I remember working at Nordstrom's. They brought me in to choose the patterns for people, and they loved it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's just so fun. I love it. So yeah, so color, it really brings out the essence of a person, and that's Suzanne Cagle's book, Color, the Essence of You. So why don't you give us a little review here on from history to the color and physiognomy and the face as an art piece.
Well, the history, as I say, it goes back to Suzanne, who launched this in the 1940s. And carried it through until about the late 1980s. And there were several people who went through her course. Unfortunately, it was expensive, and so not everybody could afford it. Hence it not being so popular today. And I think today there are probably those who studied with her, maybe 5 of us left
Wow.
initially. And so Suzanne was the first to launch this system, this concept of wearing colors that look good against you. Only she just, as I said, she took it that much further in the tones, the quality of the color, the seasonal names she would give people. Are you a dynamic winter, or soft winter, or a rose tone summer, or a vibrant spring? And she would label those. And I don't want to say label. She would name the color ranges of what they spoke to her, how they spoke to her. And so maybe what someone would see as a spring palette, they might think it's a winter palette today. But, we all see color a little differently. And so that can influence the choices that people make in selecting colors.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, so it's been around. It's still popular out there. I have a friend who travels the world painting people's colors.
Okay.
And it's still going strong today. I think it's a great investment. The prices are a little high today. They range from, I think, $250 up to $1,600
Wow.
dollars today. Yeah, and so it's making sure before people go and have their colors on, find out what system they use.
Okay.
And that's a way of checking what they're going to be getting. If it's a drape system, they're going to be put in a package. And the packaging system, because it was very portable, became extremely popular. And I remember doing colors on a cruise, and that was a lot of fun. I had to sit outside on the deck to do the colors, or on the balcony, and it was raining and it was windy, and so I'd select the color and open the door and throw the swatch on the floor. But people loved it. All day I was doing colors on the cruise. It was very exciting.
Yeah, sounds really fun, especially being on a cruise and just getting to be having different people in front of you, I should say. Very cool.
Yes.
All right. So anything else you'd like to say to kind of wrap everything up?
Well, the face is the art piece. It's who we are. Mm-hmm. And everything from the colors we wear, the prints we wear, even the shape of the glasses, they all reflect the design of our face. Now, we make a huge investment over time with tons of clothes. A lot of it people chuck out. What if they had their colors done and it would cut down at least 50% of those costs? Mm-hmm. We all have treasure pieces. In fact, going into the color, physiognomy, and design, if you look in your home and look at the art you select, the furniture you select, and notice, is it rounded or is it more geometric? Mm-hmm. because when we are investing a large amount of money in a piece of furnishings, we are more careful about our decisions.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We really do select based on our essence.
That's
So,
right.
and you were talking about that the other day, and I looked over at it's a kind of like a futon couch. It has a huge rounded pad on it, seriously comfortable, unlike the old futons. The arm of it, it's actually curved, and then the pad itself has a curve to it, and then there's the anti-spiral on it as well. So, and the print is closer together, like you said. I look better in. So that's so fascinating. You and I are kind of opposites. It's kind of fun to do
Yeah.
this together.
And even it reflects in the cars that we choose to drive.
Tell me more.
Well, typically, autumn people like the more square cars, the more geometric lines.
Mhm.
And the colors that they say the winters and the summers will be probably either black or maybe a silver gray or even a burgundy.
Interesting.
And
Very cool.
I happen to have a green car, so they always say, "Oh, there goes Naomi in her green machine."
In a green machine. Yeah, you do green really, really well. I love that about you. And you have the most amazing gift. Thank you so much for doing my color and print, and you're offering this to our audience. So thank you again. So just take a close up of your face outdoors, and then Naomi will overlay a color and a print for you. So thank you. And anything else you wanted to say about that, Naomi? All you do is just go back to your email, click where it says Naomi's gift, and it'll pop up an email for you, email template for you, and just attach the picture you've taken to
That's right.
that.
Yes. Yeah. Make sure
Mhm.
it's in daylight because the yellow the lighting electricity or the electrical lights that puts yellow into your skin, so it needs to be in full daylight.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
great. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure, Linda.
Well, as usual, this has been so fascinating. I just love all these little tips and tricks. And, I had moved into a home when I moved back from Connecticut to Minnesota, and it was all white walls, and it was a matter of it was wallpaper in the day, so it was what are the paint colors? What's the wallpaper going to be? What are the rugs? And my mom said she had a friend who was an interior decorator, and you didn't pay her, she got paid through what you purchased. And
Uh,
so I started to work with her, and I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, she just had those little turnkey things for me, and it was so fascinating because the number one tip was pick your rugs first because the availability of rugs is so limited. And we actually couldn't even find a rug for the dining room. I needed to buy um, a carpeting. And it's so funny, Naomi, because the print that you found for me and the greens and everything, that's what I chose. It had
uh,
those plumey things. Yeah, it was awesome. And then I had it cut round so it would fit the room, and then I had it bound and serged. And then I was able with the scrap to have a oval rug put in front of the front door to match the rug in the dining room. And then I had the old fashioned wool rug, the looped rug, and then it was a little too plain. So she had a fringe, almost like it felt like that cotton of string, long fringe on two edges, opposite edges of it, and had that put into the kitchen. And wow, and it was a rectangular rug, but it had the rounder flowers on it, and both those rugs were me after hearing all this from you. So
well,
if
here's an idea. Lay on the rug and get your photograph taken to see if it suits you or not.
yeah, that house and rug are long gone. We're in a little one-bedroom apartment, and we love it. We downsized from 3,000 square foot homes, downsized, and got ourselves to what's really comfortable for us. And we're so happy
That's
here in
good.
the mountains. So thank you again, Naomi. You have an amazing talent, as well as you're just chocked full of wonderful information for everybody. So make sure you go out to back out to your email, click below Naomi's bio, and take that picture, and then click there and send that picture to Naomi, and she'll do that for you, your color and your print. Thanks
Right.
again, Naomi.
My pleasure, Linda. Thank you. Have a great
Yep.
day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.